Welcome to the C.L.I.M.B. This is a show dedicated to helping singers, songwriters, and indie artists like you create leverage in the music business. This podcast exists because we want you to win. And what is leverage, you ask? Leverage is a strategic advantage. It's the power to act effectively. It means that they want you just as much as you want them, whether you're a songwriter, whether you're an artist. That's why we called it the C.L.I.M.B, C.L.I.M.B, creating leverage in the music business. That's called an acronym. And that comes from a word man who is also my co-host, Mr. Brent Baxter. Brent's an award-winning hit songwriter with cuts by Alan Jackson, Randy Travis, Lady Antebellum, Joe Nichols, and more. And what I love about Brent is he helps songwriters like you turn pro by revealing how you write like a pro, do business like a pro, and not only that, he connects you to the pros. And you can find Brent real easy at songwritingpro.com. Once again, songwritingpro.com.
And I would like to introduce you to my co-host, Johnny Dwinell. Johnny owns Daredevil Production. They help you find your sound, and they help you grow your audience so you can become the artist that everybody loves, and so you can get paid. Daredevil has worked with multi-platinum artists like Colin Ray, Tracy Lawrence, Ty Herndon, and Andy Griggs, just to name a few. You can find Johnny at daredevilproduction.com. That's production, singular, no S, and there is no S because there is no other Johnny D.
How you doing, brother?
Man, I'm doing all right. I'm fired up.
Yeah? What's going on?
Well, you know, we got some. There's a disturbance in the force.
I know. We're going to talk about that.
We're going to talk about it today. Some stuff based on an email that came into me. Somebody kind of throwing a swing at me, and I'm just some judo. And be like, it's not what you think. So we're going to go.
We're going to talk about some real life,
some real stuff is going on.
Some real life stuff here. Okay.
Yes.
Some real drama. All right, but before we do that,
yes,
we have a review here.
Woo!
This is another 5-star review, sir.
Tasty, tasty.
And the title of it is called "What a Gold Mine" by Texan Jackson.
Better than a shaft.
That's right. You got the gold mine. I got it. You got the gold mine. I got the shaft. Ha! Song. Here's what it says. I can't believe I found this site, a really valuable resource for aspiring songwriters. Thanks to the show producers for providing such a wonderful platform, man. Thank you, Texan Jackson.
Thank you much. Thank you for that tasty, tasty 5-star review. We appreciate it.
That is awesome.
Yeah, it is.
Now, listen, guys, if you feel like Texan Jackson and you like this content, please share it. If somebody in your band or somebody in your musical community, if you're getting value out of it, they might get value out of it too. When you tell them about it, it means a lot more than when we tell them about it, right? Because that's called social proof. Secondly, subscribe. So it automatically appears every Tuesday, and the minisodes appear every Friday.
That's right.
Right, your podcast player, and they just stack up there so you can get to them whenever you need to. But they're there for you. You don't got to, you're not going to miss nothing. Right?
We are basically like Johnny and I are on call.
That's right.
24/7.
For you.
Whenever you need us.
For you.
Right there in your phone.
It's like magic.
I know.
And, hey, take 5 minutes, not even 5 minutes, like take 1 minute, leave a rating and review. It makes us look legit to other people. They, again, social proof, they realize that there's something really going on here, and we have, we'll read it on the air. We'll make you famous.
There
right?
we go. Yep.
All right, so what is going on? You got a disturbing email.
Yeah, a little bit.
Not really,
not as disturbing. Yeah. So
it could create
some tension in the room.
Some tension.
So yeah. So as you guys may know, I have a Play for Publisher event that I do quarterly. So I bring in a legit Music Row publisher, and go. People send in climbers like you send in songs. We throw and find the 10 I think are most likely to catch the publisher's ear in a good way. And then we do a video conference, the 10 of you and me and the publisher, and you play your song, and you have a little back and forth one-on-one time, FaceTime literally, because it's a video conference with a hit publisher. And then, it's a door opener kind of thing. It's a chance to get your song heard on Music Row by somebody who knows what to do with it. So I do that every quarter.
Right, hold on. Can we just stop right there for 1 second? So it's a chance to get your song heard by a professional, hit music publisher,
yes.
a legit publisher.
Legit.
In an environment where they're prepared to hear it.
Exactly.
Let's talk about that. I mean,
they
like,
know it's coming. It's not the grocery store.
Tin Pan Alley or Tin Pan South,
Right.
or like CMAs. I'll be working on Music Row, and every freaking year it's like clockwork. You know, some crazy people walk in off the street. And, you know, are you a producer here? Listen to my songs. You know, and you're like, what? Like, you completely interrupt your session. Not the right time to do it.
Right.
It's a hard way to find like a. What's the word I'm looking for? Like a warm greeting. Like this is like these songs have been curated and presented to this, so they're prepared to listen.
It's been on their calendar.
They
for
know
2
it's not going to be
months.
crazy.
They know I'm showing up at their door. They know what the deal is. They know, you know, weeded through and found songs I think will hopefully, you know, lead to something for them.
Right.
You know, the best that got sent in, which I don't control.
That's right.
Here's the best I found. So, you know, so that happens every quarter. And there are other places that do like pitch to publisher, other organizations, other songwriter people that do this sort of stuff. And anyway, so there's some buzz and chatter about that. Are those good things or not? So anyway, I got an email the other day from somebody who shall remain nameless because nothing but love for anyone that takes the time to even send me a challenging email. That's cool. Thank you.
That's right.
For the opportunity for you challenging me so I can respond. So this person said, hey, you know, it's my understanding that play to publisher or pitch to publisher is a waste of time because they almost never sign single song contracts. They have their own writers to feed. So my question for, in this case, Tim Hunzy, who's our hit publisher guest from Parallel Music, is like, how many single song contracts did you sign in 2017? I bet 0. So that's the question. I was like, Well, you know what my response was? I don't know how many you signed because that's not my business. That's not the door I'm trying to open. So, and this is what I responded to this person, and we'll expand upon it here. So hopefully, you know, this person's listening, and if you have some of the same questions, we can address this because it's like, okay, I want to address this head on because there's misinformation out there. You may think I'm doing stuff that I'm not doing, and also I can help you avoid some waste of your time as well.
That's right.
So. It basically comes down to what your songwriting goals are. Is your songwriting goal a single song contract or is it a songwriting career? Like, I don't know if Tim in this case or any of my publisher guests do many single song agreements. I don't ask because that's not the door I'm trying to open for people. Sure, I mean, it may happen, and if it does, that's great. But I'm seeking to connect serious songwriters with serious pros in the music business. And this is a relationship business. It's a long-term business. To say like publisher events are a waste of time because you probably won't walk away with a single song contract is really a short-sighted view of things. Really, and we had this little chat off the air, but we'll use better language. So it's kind of like saying you're not going to go out with that girl because you may not get really, really friendly on the first date. Like you may not walk out from the first date.
You might not get the home base on the first date.
Right, so you decide, why should I even swing, right?
Right.
It was like, well, are you looking for a one-night stand or are you looking for a girlfriend or a wife?
Right.
Because if you're not going to take a swing, because, you know, I may not get to home base on the first date. Well, yeah, if your goal is to get to home base on the first date, yeah, I guess she may not be for you. Right. Are you looking for a wife or a girlfriend, long-term thing or a short-term thing? Then maybe worth taking a swing. That's really not relevant to whether she puts out on the first date or not, to if you're looking for a wife or a girlfriend or whatever. You know, those are different questions. Right. So single song contracts don't necessarily have anything to do with, are you looking for a publishing deal? Are you looking for have a hit songwriting career?
Are you learning to improve your songwriting and get some insight? Because we're going to talk about that
we're going to talk about that too.
But, you know, let me interject for a second.
Yes.
I think there's a lot of songwriters and a lot of artists that have it's like a lottery ticket kind of perspective on the industry, you know? Like, I just need this one big relationship and that's going to make it happen for me.
Yeah.
I just need to get my song, this one song, the thing I'm putting all my hopes and dreams on, get it to the one guy who's, you know, and it doesn't ever work like that. That's not what creates buzz. It's not what you need. Do you know how many artists are on the shelf at major labels right now that can't get anything done and can't afford to get out of their freaking contracts because one person liked them and signed them and the whole team didn't? Like, it's so much more than that. This is a business. I mean, you know, would you, at your job that you have right now, if you've got a day job, do you want to be the one guy that, like, nobody likes?
No. I mean, I'm that way now because I work for myself.
Yeah.
So some days, my boss is a jerk and his employees are terrible. But anyway.
And it's also like about some sort of, there's a component of immediate altruism in there. And immediate altruism is called a job.
Yeah.
And that's when you work for somebody else. That's when you're working for somebody else's dream. I have to remind my artists of this all the time too. And the same holds true for songwriters, When you go to work on a day job, you trade 40 hours of your life or more, which is the most valuable asset you have, your time, in exchange for some amount of money.
Yep.
Okay?
Time for money.
And hopefully you love what you do. Hopefully.
Right.
Okay? But I can be, as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, I can tell you, I've started several businesses, that starting your own business, and I'm not talking about being an artist or being a songwriter. I'm talking about starting my own business. I've done it in financial industry. I've done it in the electronics industry. I've done it in the music industry. It is not an immediate altruism kind of thing.
Right. Not immediate return for your investment.
Exactly. It's a roller coaster ride between, oh my God, I'm the king of the world, to complete and utter terror.
Right.
I'm a month late on my rent. I don't know when I'm going to get kicked out of here, and how's this going to happen because you got cash flow problems. Like, this is not a lemonade stand, man. Like and when you're trying to be an artist, when you're trying to be a songwriter and become a professional, you are, by default, an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And you got to think like an entrepreneur. And some people just aren't entrepreneurs. They're not.
True.
They don't think like that. So keep that in mind, guys. Like, this is not a sprint.
No, it's not.
This is a marathon, and you want to have that perspective when you go into any kind of deal, aside from play for publisher or pitch to publisher.
Right. Yeah.
So
and so this person was kind enough to email back. Apparently, a blog post from another songwriting organization that had gone out recently that addressed this. They sometimes do that. It seems every quarter when I do my play for publisher. Anyway, and so I'll leave the names out because that really doesn't matter. But this person wrote back and said, hey, these people are, they help songwriters and they're pros in the business too. And here's, they say basically it's a waste of time to do these pitch to publisher events. And he forwarded me their blog email that went out to people. I'll read part of that. Read it? I'm going to read part of it. I'm going to leave out some names. Okay. All right, because nothing but love for people, right? Because that's not important. So it says a publisher is someone who, or a company who creates licenses and administrates music. They sign writers and they do this and that. And publishers basically, they give a little preview of what publishers do. They take in songs, they try to get songs recorded so the writers and the publishers get paid. And this is publishers who do pitch to publisher events are doing so because they get paid to do that event, not because they're actively seeking to sign single song contracts. Some publishers who do these events actually never sign single songs.
Which means?
So yeah, we'll get to that. So what does that mean? It means you are wasting your time and money pitching to most publishers. If possible, always ask the publisher if they sign single songs and how many they've signed. It's important information to know if you're paying to pitch to one. So and then it goes some other stuff. But you know what I have to say to that, Johnny?
Yeah, talk to me. Son.
I have to say I agree. I agree with that email. Because, and that's why I don't do pitch to publisher nights. That's why I don't do that. So I'm going to go into what I agree with this and let you... I know, you thought I was going to disagree. No, I actually agree. But some people get confused and think I'm doing what they're talking about. So here's the deal. First of all, I don't do a pitch to publisher. I do a play for publisher, and we'll get into that in a minute about why that's different and why that matters. But they say here that they're not actively seeking to sign single song contracts and hardly ever. Listen, we kind of touched on this already. If you're going into a publisher event where you get to play one song for a publisher, and your goal is a single song contract with that publisher, it is either a bad event, which I don't do, or you're thinking too short term. Again, it's the girl not taking a swing because you're afraid, you're just trying to hit a home run, get to home base on the first date.
Right.
That I agree with this blog. That is probably not a good use of your time. That's not how they probably find most of that. I do a play for publisher, which is we bring a publisher in. We got the 10 people, like I talked about. You're face to face. It's a small group. A lot of these play for or pitch to publishers. That's all you're doing is you're pitching a song. They may get through a verse and a chorus. and it's a cattle call. You got a bunch of people in a room, and a publisher's and you got somebody flipping CDs or burning through, and you go through 100 songs in 2 hours, and just going pass or keep kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And most of the time, it's passes.
Yeah.
And there is, if you're hoping to go to one of those and get a single song contract, it's not a good use of your time. But
or your money.
Or if you got to pay for those, it's So what I do is a play for publisher, and it's the two main goals of this are education and relationship building. So what you do is, that's why it's a small group. Not everyone gets to get in that room, so the publisher gets to spend more time with each writer. So you're face to face on video, right? So they get to see you. We've had people, Zoom in from Scotland and Canada and different places, So our publisher's sitting there with me. We're in their publishing office, and so each song basically get 8 minutes per writer. You don't get those in those cattle calls. You get like maybe verse, chorus, and it's gone to the next one.
That's a minute and a half, maybe 2 minutes.
If you're lucky.
Yeah.
Right.
Minute and a half if you're lucky.
Yeah, we're talking 8 minutes. I got a timer, and we go for those 8 minutes if you got enough. So what we do is we listen through, at least through to the bridge. So we're listening to the whole song, because I'm a writer, and I always get frustrated if they wouldn't even listen to the whole thing. So I'm thinking, what would I want? I want them to listen to the whole thing. I wrote a bridge. If I wrote a bridge.
3 minutes.
And so, so they can get the whole deal. I may not listen all the way through the last course, because I want to leave as much of that 8 minutes left for conversation. So after that, the publisher gives their feedback, what they like, what they don't like. They're dropping value bombs, what people are looking for, just all kind, whatever that song makes them feel.
So can I interject there?
Yes.
So when they're dropping value bombs, another thing you got to remember. I go back to the story when I first met you, and you had the
mug,
the coffee mug,
right,
and you had stuff written on your coffee mug, and I'm trying to be cool because I'm talking to hit-songwriter Brent Baxter, and I want him to think that I'm cool. And we're out in the parking lot of this recording studio cutting one of his songs, and I'm trying to, as discreetly as I can, just see what the heck it is you wrote on that thermos. And then finally, I just couldn't take it anymore, and I just asked you, and you said, "Man, somebody turned me on to the market changed." Mm-hmm. Somebody told you you were going to be the best. You're going to be a hit songwriter in the 90s.
But it was like the 2000s.
Yeah, 2010s.
Right. Something, yeah.
And so they're not doing the 3-act plays anymore. Here's how the market changed. These are really good songs. They're really well done, but you're not going to sell them because that's not what the market's buying. Right. So you keep your finger on the pulse of the changing market, which is hard to do if you're not in this town.
It is. And so, for me, I wrote those on a coffee mug so I'd have it in front of me every day when I write, because I write with coffee.
Right, because there's that. I mean, if you're trying to be, obviously, if you're pitching to a publisher, or you're playing for a publisher, or you have aspirations to have a relationship with the publisher, you want to be professional, and you need to know what's going on.
Right, yeah. So they have their finger on the pulse, and they're sharing that, this is what we think about tracks and demos. This is kind of what I'm feeling here. And it's one person's opinion, but it is a professional opinion. So you got the 8 minutes. So they, start off with, the majority of your song. Publisher gives their feedback, and you're having a conversation because you can ask follow-up questions. Well, what do you think about this? Or if you kind of go through that song, anything else you want to ask, you still got a minute left. It's your time. I'm going to use it. And then some people are like, nah, I'm good. Or some people are like, yeah, I got this question about this other thing. And if we just go till the alarm sounds, like, all right, that's 8 minutes. We got to go for someone else. And that way, it is a smaller event. You get some face and you get a chance to talk. They can fill you out a little bit. And plus they hear, your best song or whatever, one that you selected as one of the ones to send in. So it's pre-screened by you, pre-screened by me. We get to listen to it and you get to have a conversation. So that's one of the things that happens. And as far as, I've never had anyone jump over the desk in the middle of one of my play for publisher events and go, I want to sign this song. And do a single song contract. I haven't seen that because that's kind of not really the point. Now, if the right song walks in, but that is a really high bar. I mean, I had a publisher tell me, or a songwriter tell me one time that publishers are never looking, but they're always looking to make money. If you walk in and we play money, they're not stupid, right?
Yeah, right.
But that's an incredibly high bar.
That's right.
It's incredibly high bar. But what I have had happen is after one publisher go, I got some ideas maybe for some pitches for this thing. And then after it's over, he's like, he was still talking about that song, but I think that's a couple ideas on maybe where I could go with that. He was thinking about where he'd go with that song and pitch it.
Can I interject for a second with that? So this past weekend we were at the C.L.I.M.B conference.
Yes.
We got some quality time with Chris Oglesby, hit publisher, who's been on your Play for Publisher event before.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of the difference in the pro songwriting world, not the amateur songwriting world, the pro songwriting world of the song that's absolute money versus the one where the publisher's like, man, this is a good song. I got some pitch ideas for this. Right? Yeah. And you know what story I'm thinking about. Like where the first call after they got done with the ink wasn't even dry on the paper yet.
Right.
From Craig Wiseman with
Tim Nichols.
Yeah, and Tim Nichols, Live Like You're Dying. And they called Chris down, hey, come down. I think we got something here.
Yeah.
Like we got lightning in a bottle. Like that's the kind of song that could get a single song.
Right. Just that immediate.
Because they didn't. That wasn't pitched but to one artist. Right. And that one artist was like, yes. I got this. And it probably could have gone to a number of different artists.
Oh, yeah.
That could have made it work. Yeah. Because it was so good. So freaking good. Now, how many songs has Craig Wiseman and Nichols wrote? And how many of them are like that? Right. Like so, amongst the pro group, you're talking about the cream of the. So do you see where they? Do you see how high that bar is? Yeah. For a single song contract. So I just want to point that out.
Yeah, it's a really high bar. I mean, I've had publishing deals, and most of the songs I turn in during that time, most of the publishers wouldn't assign a single song contract on because most of the songs you write as a staff writer, not going to get demoed, not going to get pitched. Yeah. So even that, if it is a low batting average.
My story with Kim Tribble.
They're paying me every month.
Yeah, my story with Kim Tribble came. I write 12 songs a week. I'm like, my jaw dropped. He's like, oh, don't get excited. Most of them suck.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
but 12 songs a week, and he needs to probably what's the normal requirement that a publishing company is going to require for a year? It's like what they call accepted songs.
Yeah, like 12 wholly written songs. So if they're all 50-50 co-writes, then like 24 titles.
12 times what equals 52, 12 full songs. Right. So 12 times 52 is how many freaking songs that dude's writing a year, and they're taking 12 of them.
Kind of thing. Like, how many of them actually get cut? Or how many are they pitching out of that? Is not all of them.
Not a lot. And he's got a deal.
And and he's had a bunch of hits. So I think that's one thing to talk about. So that's why I don't do the cattle call, because I'm interested in the education of the writer and getting some face time and building to a relationship. Because so one thing we've had, somebody like considering like, where could I go and pitch this thing? Another one, somebody had a couple songs in there, and the publisher's like, hey man, you local? Yeah man, come on by. And he went on by and then got some other face to face with this publisher, legit publisher having hits.
Opportunity
offer
at bats.
I'm like, that's what I want out of this for my writers. In the songwriting pro community, to get better, to get educated, see where the bar is, get a head check, right? Because we all need it. I do too. And to, start building some relationships and go, great. So that one at bat turned into playing songs for this publisher, turned into coming down there, and he showed him around. And it wasn't a big serious song meeting, but it was another at bat.
Right.
There's another one where we had the last one we did. Publisher was there, and the writer showed up, and they'd already bumped into each other that day. The writer and the publisher, like, "Hey, you didn't tell me you were doing this." Yeah, well, I just didn't bring it up, and it was, and your new buddy Mark Maxwell. Yeah, I think we did one with the publisher. Mark was one of the 10 writers in there. And he's like, wait, where do I know you from? He's like, I got the music store in Louisville. Oh, yeah. So it was like another all this stuff rolls into building that familiarity, getting that, why does Coke advertise? Who doesn't know what Coca-Cola is? Why do they keep advertising? They want to be top of mind.
Top of mind.
And this is part of building that, like, oh, I hear a song, see your face. Maybe I'm bumping to you again. This might be a 5th time I'm aware of you. It might be the 1st time, but there will be more in the future. This leads into that. It's a long-term thing. Like you're saying, it's a marathon, not a sprint. Yeah, so if you just want to walk in there cold, get a single song contract,
do you know how hard that is? Can I stop right there?
That's not where you need to be aiming. You're going to leave disappointed, and you might miss another opportunity that's even more valuable in the long term, because you're just looking at that single song contract.
That's right. And I will suggest this, that most people listening to this podcast, whatever business they've ever transacted, whether they spend 50 cents, or they spend $500, or they spend $5,000 or $500,000 on a house, right, or on a candy bar. Like, you're only doing business with people or other businesses that have three things: you know, like, and trust them.
So, especially if you're signing a contract. That's what a single song contract is. Like, if we're going to get paperwork and signatures, I want to make sure I'm not causing myself problems. Yeah. Even if I like the song, I want to get to know you.
Because you know what? There's a ton of great songs out there. They don't need your hit song so bad that they're going to deal with crazy.
Right.
So they want to know, like, and trust you. That takes more than 3.5 minutes and an 8-minute thing.
Right. It does.
Or at a pitch for a publisher, a verse and a chorus.
Yeah, but it's kind of like the first line of a song. The goal of the first line of a song is to get the listener to want to hear the second line. And this is kind of what that is. If it's your first at-bat with that publishers, to get them like, oh, okay, that was interesting. You know, and you maybe follow up with an email. It's a door opener. It's not designed to be a deal closer. So that's one thing, like the relational part of it. The other part of it is the educational. So they get to tell you what they see as the shortcomings or the brilliance in your song, and so you can know what to chase and know what you need to shore up.
You get some validation, you get some medicine.
Exactly, you get some of both. And it's not just, and this is one thing I love about it, and I love the Zoom platform. I'm not a paid spokesperson for Zoom, but I was on some other platforms before. I couldn't really record these events. With Zoom, I can record it, a little red button, and we can record the event. Everybody that enters a song, or even doesn't even enter a song but pays, it's $10, right, for a song entry spot, because I can only take so many. Everybody that does that gets a link to the replay, so they get to be a fly on the wall and sit in and hear these conversations, not just hear pass keep. But they get to hear. Here's what I like about this. Oh, that part was really cool.
First of all, they get to hear the songs. The top 10 songs that made it.
That made it when theirs didn't.
In that batch.
And so that's a little bit of a head check, right?
Yeah.
May make you mad. You may understand it. You know, whatever. Your mileage may vary.
Or both. Right. So I've said this story before on the podcast, but when we first signed, I'm like a year out of high school. I'm maybe halfway through my first year in college, my only year in college, and we get that big, huge regional booking contract. Like, they're going to put us on the road. They're going to put us on tour. And the first thing I ask is, who's the best band in your booking agency? Who's the best band you got? They're like, that's a band called Mannequin. I'm like, really? Okay, where are they playing? When are they coming to Milwaukee? They're actually going to be there in 2 weeks. Okay, got another hurdle. I'm 19. Can't get in the bar. Well, what am I going to do? Like, well, don't worry about that. We're going to hook you up with Mark O'Toole. He's the manager. He's going to get you in. We'll take care of it. You know, and they're loving that I'm asking all the right questions.
Those are great questions. It's like, I'm not stopping here. I didn't just achieve my goal. I'm going to coast. Like, I want to get better. I want to turn this into the next big opportunity.
I know that I don't know.
Yeah, that's...
Right? So I go there, and I got my butt handed to me on a silver frickin' platter.
Right.
And so one half of me was like, holy crap, we got a lot of work to do. And the other half was like excited, like, I can't believe I'm in this club.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm in this club. Like, I'm at the bottom of the barrel, but I'm in this club.
Right.
And I can climb up and I can do this. I know where the bar is, and I know what I got to do. So, yeah, it was humiliating and energizing at the same time.
Yep.
But you got to know where the bar is, man. I just think that's invaluable.
Yeah, it is. And so even if your song doesn't get picked, you get that, and then you get the conversation, you get the feedback. What they spotlight is something they dug about it, and then you get the feedback of what they didn't like about it.
Yeah.
Stuff that may not even be on your radar, maybe like the business side of things, like writing the uptempo positive versus the slow sad, that kind of stuff.
Yep.
And getting to be a fly on the wall for that for $10.
And then shoot, maybe like, this is the greatest ballad I've ever heard. I got a truckload of ballads. I wouldn't take it because I can't
get the ones I got cut.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh.
I didn't think about it that way. Okay.
Didn't think about it that way. There's a lot of that stuff.
So you're focusing in on that target, you know? Or this is a great song, greatest 90s song I ever hit. Tim McGraw would have cut this and made it a huge hit in the 90s.
But that was, how many years ago?
But that was 20 years ago, and now the market's different.
Right.
And so I think you got great writing skills, but you need to write in the now. You need to not do the 3-act play. And then again, focus, like you're honing in on the target, honing in on your craft as what the market wants. You could have the best blue solo cups on the planet, but if they're only taking red solo cups right now, you're screwed.
Right. Yeah.
Unless you start to figure out, if I want to make some money selling solo cups, I better make sure they're red ones right now.
Exactly.
Until that changes.
Yeah, and just asking that question is important. And so that's why I don't do pitch to publishers. That's why I do play for publishers. It's a different beast. So it's like, I actually agree with that that email that went out that some people think applies to what we do at Songwriting Pro. And it's like, no, I agree with you.
It's very narrowly focused. And can we talk about Matt Klein right now? If you just want a single song,
it's probably not for you.
Can we talk about your brother-in-law right now?
Yes, we can.
Because that was a pitch for publisher event.
Yeah, it was with a different organization, but he did a
very well-known organization.
A very well-known, very well-respected organization. They did, and that one was a little more curated than like the normal, big cattle call. It was a little more curated. They bring in a lot of publishers. They bring in a few songs from writers. The writers aren't there, but they bring in their songs. They play for them. And, my brother-in-law, Matt Klein, he had some songs that cycled through that a couple times.
Now, did he get a single song contract?
No, he got
which supports this email.
Right, exactly. Yeah, he didn't walk away with a single song, but
what did he get?
He got a meeting out of it, and then he got another meeting, and another meeting, and then he got a publishing deal with one of those publishers. And he was signed there for like 3 years and got some cuts out of it.
And cash money
got paid
on the barrelhead.
That was his job.
Yeah.
They got paid to write songs. And so, yeah, he didn't walk away with a single song either, but it was a door opener, and the songs were good, and enough to get him on someone's radar and go, yeah, I'd like to meet this guy.
Yeah.
And then he's a good guy and had more good songs, and you build that relationship, and it was a good fit, and, he got signed. So stuff happens, and even in the language of this, like you said, most publishers are not looking to sign single songs. Well, just most means some, I guess, are. And some publishers who do these events never sign singles. Well, I guess then some do. But still, if you're looking to sign a single song, I think that's not a wise investment. If that's your only definition of success, probably not for you. Even my event, not for you if all you want is a single song. But if you want to get better, if you want to have a chance to get FaceTime and with a real publisher and chat, and if you want to learn kind of where the bar sits,
be a fly on the wall.
I have people that will do the submission and not send in a song just because they want to watch the replay, because for $10 it's invaluable. They're like, yeah, I'm not even. I don't
$10 education.
Yeah, like I'm not even ready for. I don't need to send a song in because
that's below minimum wage.
Yeah.
Like you're paying, like that's paying for that education, and it's less than $15 an hour. Like,
yeah, and they just do it because they're like, I know I need the education. I just want to hear what the publisher has to say. I'm not even going to waste my time sending a song in because I don't feel like it's ready yet. But I'll get a spot just so I can get the replay.
Yeah,
and because they're thinking long term, they're thinking I want to grow and I want to get better, and so. So that email at first, I was offended, but then I read deeper into it and go, oh, it's okay. They're not talking about me. He just thinks they're talking about me because I do something completely different.
Yeah.
So, but I thought it was a great opportunity to clarify that.
Yeah.
And let you know what I think. Yeah, if you're just looking for a single song contract on a cattle call thing, the odds are really, really low.
That's like winning the lottery.
That's your only definition of success.
And it's not even like
be disappointed.
It's not even like winning the lottery, because winning the lottery is pure luck.
Right.
Pure mathematical luck.
Right.
But you still have to have a great song.
Right.
And then get lucky.
Yeah.
So not only is it lottery luck, but it's also like you've got to have The House That Built Me. You've got to have Live Like You Were Dying, where they're just like, oh man, this is crazy.
Yeah.
Like the only reason Miranda Lambert cut The House That Built Me because it wasn't pitched to her.
Yeah, she was riding around with Blake, and it was pitched to Blake and heard it.
Then she's like, Blake,
if you don't cut it, I will. Yeah.
And Blake's like, okay, baby, you want to do it? Like, I'm sure there was something else going on there.
However, and one thing I've had publishers tell me before is like, when you do those events, you're not even really looking for a hit song. You're looking for someone who might be a hit songwriter. And you're trying to identify something in the writing, like, ooh, that's because most of the time it's not there yet, but they may identify something you have to say, some way of looking at the world where they go, huh, something that makes them go, things that make you go, huh,
yeah.
And that's the deal. They're not even so much looking for hit songs. Now, if you have one, they're not stupid. They're not turning it away. But they're looking for a writer. They're not looking for a golden egg. They're looking for the.
They're looking for veins of gold.
They're looking for the goose that can lay the golden egg.
Yeah, they're looking for veins of brilliance in this. Going, you know what? Like if you were writing up,
Like, yeah,
if I put you around some better riders,
in my hands, I can, turn you into the goose that lays the golden eggs consistently. Like,
that's right.
That's more what they look for.
Yeah.
So yeah, this egg might have a little flecks of gold on it.
Think of the way baseball works. The AAA teams. Mm-hmm. Very rarely
we're going to draft you and then bump you down.
Yeah, and you're going to learn
put you to work.
How to freaking play baseball. Like, you're going to learn how to hit a curve. You got to learn how to throw a curve. You got to learn how to throw. If you're a pitcher, you got to learn. You can't just have one thing.
Right. Yeah, it's not about we're going to. Some of them go straight to the majors or whatever, but a lot of them
rarely.
Like, we're going to. And I'm not a baseball guy, but yeah, we're going to draft you. Same thing with
basketball. Very rarely do they go right out of high school right into the pros. That's right. Kobe Bryant. And one other guy.
King James.
Yeah.
Yeah. So. If you're saying, I'm going to get drafted, I'm going to go with baseball, I'm going to hit, a home run in the World Series and get drafted right into the World Series. No, man, they send them to the developmental league. So even those guys are like, they're not ready yet, but there's something in there.
But there's got raw talent.
There's something there that can be refined. So I'm not going to give them a single song contract. We're going to draft them, but then we're going to work on them.
And by the way, never happens in football. Because of physical size.
Yeah.
You're physically not developed enough to go right out of high school into the pros. You have to go through college or you will be broken in half.
Right. It's because that competitive and that intense.
Because you're not that big yet.
Yeah. So I know our time's getting up, but I just wanted to share that with you guys. And, if you hear some of that chatter, just remember, that's why I do play for publisher, not pitch to publisher. It's a different thing. And think about the value that you do get. Because, like I said, a lot of that stuff in that email, I agree with. Can't argue with it, but glad I got a chance to clarify it. So,
and I think the main goals of this are just to learn how to write a better song so that you're providing the best possible art that you can to be put into the marketplace that you want to be put into.
That's what's going to help you win long term.
And two, create the relationships so that you can create a pipeline to deliver that art through. Yeah. You can have the pipeline, but if you don't have the art, you're screwed.
Yeah.
You can have the art, but if you don't have the pipeline, you're screwed. You need both.
Right. And the 3 steps to a successful songwriting career: write great songs, build great relationships, repeat.
Boom.
That's what you do. And so we're helping you helping you on both those levels.
There you go. Now, if somebody wants to up their songwriting.
Yeah, so yes, I have another Play for Publisher event coming up. If you want to get the details on that, you can go to songwritingpro.com, or even better, just go to giftfrombrent.com. I have a free ebook there, Think Like a Pro Songwriter. You just tell me where to send it, I email it to you, and then also put you on the Songwriting Pro Insiders list where you get the details. The deadline for submitting your songs comes at the end of this month. If you miss it, so if you miss the May 31st, I'll probably have another one coming up in about 3 months. I tend to do these every quarter. So you can, if you're listening to this in the future, you just still go to giftfrombrent.com, and so you'll be sure and get all that information in your inbox, along with a bunch of other valuable free songwriter information.
Boom. All right. Well, that brings us to the end of another killer C.L.I.M.B episode. Again, share it. If you like this stuff, other people are probably going to like it too. Tell them about it. It means the world to us. Subscribe. Make sure that all those episodes come in on Tuesday and the minisodes come in on Friday magically and get archived right in your phone. You can listen to them when you have those nights where you've got insomnia and you're just going to binge listen to a bunch of stuff. And then finally, take a few seconds and leave a rating and review on iTunes for us. It helps us look more legit. It tells people that there's other people finding value in it. That's social proof, and we talk about that on this as well, but you can help us with the social proof. So this podcast exists because we want you to win, guys, so keep on climbing.
And we'll see you at the top.